Ubanenye nsogbu akụbiro ụbanese ụfọdụ rere aka n'uchere nwere onwe ha n'ihi ọwa ego na-achị n'ụwa ndụ onye nwanyị jiri si anya hụ n'ego n'anya maka arụ na-emefu ego na-achị arụ niile dị iche iche mere ala ya dị mma ịhụnanya ego ọ bụ ya bụ mgbọrọgwụ ya mgbọrọgwụ gbuo egbuo mgbuo oke ọ dịghị ihe ga-eme ntụgide gị bọmbụ agaghị ebe ebe ego ka ikpe mara mighty men of fraud pose as mighty men of God ndị nọ n'oke efe mmadụ ndị osi n'ụka gbuo abracadabra people who claim to be anointed. Ndị nọ n'oke efe mmadụ amapọ ya new anointing. Nwere nta nwee imo mmanwụ bịa ọ dịshishi jala. Ndụ karịrị ihe nwe n'ihe eji atọ ndụ mmadụ. Mgbọrọgwụ njọ ịhụnanya ego ka onye nwanyị kwuru ụfọdụ ji baịbụl jide ọtụmọkpọ bụzi ha n'ezi anya nọ otu na-adam na-abịhu bụzi ha n'ezi anya nọ ndị nọ n'oke efe mmadụ bụzi ha n'ezi anya nọ ụba na-enye nsogbu ego mara mma ma o mebiri jugodo onye nwere ego jugodo onye bara o mere gịnị ka o mere ba n'ụwa na onye nwanyị jiri gbanya hụrụ ego n'anya maka ọhụrụ ego n'anya na dị dangerous arụ niile dị iche iche mere ala ya dị mma ịhụnanya ego ọ bụ ya bụ mgbọrọgwụ ya mgbọrọgwụ njọ ịhụnanya ego ka onye nwanyị kwuru ndụ karịrị ihe nwe n'ihe eji atụ ndụ mmanụ ndụ karịrị ihe eji ata ya mmanụ.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depends the part of the world you are joining us from. I am Mazi Chika Austin, and I'm once again here to, haven't been long, I stayed off on live video broadcast. We are here once again to push on because it is in our DNA to keep pushing on. And that's why those who are familiar with our slogan understand when we say we move, irrespective of whatever is happening around us. That is a philosophy we key into. That is the driving principle that holds us strong. And Elohim has been extremely faithful to we all. So I want us to look at issue, but before that, very, very important, you share this program, 1. 2, also very, very important, I get your response as regards if you're getting us loud and clear. While I am waiting for the response to know how you're receiving us from your end, we urge you to share this program. Very, very important. So let me get the comment if we are coming loud and clear. Very, very important.
ụba na-enye nsogbu, akụbiro ụba na-ese. Ụfọdụ rere aka n'uche ree nwere onwe ha n'ihi ọwa ego na-achị. N'ụwa ndụ onye nwanyị jiri si anyanwụ na ego n'anya maka arụ na-emefu ego na-achị. Arụ niile dị iche iche mere ala ya dị mma. Ịhụnanya ego ọ bụ ya bụ mgbọrọgwụ ya. Mgbọrọgwụ gbuo egbuo egbuo mgbuo oke ọ dịghị ihe ga-eme. Ntụgide gị bọmbụ agaghị ebe ebe ego ka ikpe mara.
Okay, thank you, Mazi Sampe, Master. Having clarified that we are coming loud and clear, we have to move on. Well, it's been long, like I earlier said, and I want to seize this opportunity to welcome each and every one of us, to also appreciate every single one of us that is standing strong out there in the midst of diverse waves. Every single one of us who is still on his feet, pressing on for this noble cause, especially as being mapped out by the visionary Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You have my kudos, you have my accolades, because in a struggle like ours, in a struggle like the one we are pressing on, it is really, really, you know, let me put it in this way, uncommon in our way of doing things for us to be, be as disciplined as the visioneer has mapped out the channel for this struggle. So every single one of us that is still standing strong, respecting the structure, respecting the landmark Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has built for these years, you deserve a high accolade from me, because it's not easy, which each and every one of us we acknowledge is on us to, because of our social way of doing things, especially the Igbo Biafrans, where we are so, independent in thinking. But every single one of us who have submitted loyalty, who have submitted discipline to the visioneer of this struggle, the man God has given to us as a gift after our years of cries and pains. Every one of us that is respecting what he has put deserves to be respected also. So I want to thank you, who I see as my living hero out there. So we have a couple of things we need to talk this morning. I also want to also seize this opportunity to ask Biafrans, especially those at home, to understand that the next stage we are moving, each and every one of us should understand this is a political year, and being a political year is going to really be a tempting and a very strong period of trial to each and every one of us. So every single Biafran should brace up mentally, should brace up on every side of life to understand that more is to be, more is to come on our side, especially those that are home. You must maintain every single side of discipline and bravery in order to survive the period we are approaching. Look, let me tell you, whether we like it or not, the political class are in a very serious mess. And I want to tell you this, put me anywhere. The political class are in a very severe mess. Severe mess, I mean, you might decide to measure the degree based on the parameter or yardstick you want to use in measuring the degree. But the truth is, They have wrecked everything. They have wrecked the security. They have wrecked the economy. They have wrecked the center of unity. So as it stands now, Nigeria is in a very fragile state, and the politicians this year also are going to add up to its fragility. Believe you me. And that is what we are going to analyze. We are not going to spend much time because the day has just opened, and we understand the fact that we are very hardworking people, and very soon we are going to hit the street in order to make up ends meet. So what I'm trying to say is that we understand every single thing that is happening. It's quite unfortunate that most people or some people seem not to be quiet, analyze, and look at issues from realistic point of view. It doesn't matter how you see it. It doesn't matter how you want to interpret it. The truth remains that feelings don't build realities. Feelings, emotions don't control rational structures. How do I mean? That you are very pathetic, that you are very sentimental about health challenge does not mean you will never have health challenge. It's natural for one to have health challenge. But there's nothing you can do in order not to have a breakdown of body system. There's nothing you can do. But there's something you can do to control that breakdown of body system from leading to demise or death. So the wise accepts the reality that there will definitely be a health challenge, and he starts putting up measures to make sure that this health challenge does not lead to death. But the fool denies the reality of health challenge and keep making all sorts of fantastic submissions, which cannot even stop the reality of body breakdown. And that's why, if you bring it down to this struggle, most of us have destroyed themselves owing to the fact that they don't understand that this is struggle. Because it's a struggle, it has its own challenge. They think it's just a world of fantasy. They think we are driving something that is going to be less difficult. No, it's going to be difficult. But our resoluteness and consistency waters down the brevity of the oppressor. Take note of that. It's going to be difficult. It is difficult. But our consistency and brevity definitely will give us winnings. So when we don't appreciate these realities and decide to play the card of fantasies and delusions, we get wearied on the way. So every single one of us here should understand that you are fighting to liberate yourself from a system that believes that if you are out of the system, they are gone. Let that sink in your mind. You are just like the driver of the economy. You are the glory, the light of a system, and you want to get out. So the system understands that if you get out, the little illumination they have will be quenched. So when you see it from that angle, you will now understand that it is more of a battle than a mere issues most of us see. So let's talk about the future we have. Very, very important. You know, one thing some persons, especially people like me, my kind, one of the reasons why I subscribe to this struggle is not because of anything apart from the fact that I want my freedom because of I hate the system in Nigeria. The most important thing is that I saw a man who understands the requirements for freedom fighting. Take note of this. Mazinam, they can understand the porosity of what is leading his people into. He understands the price. And because of the fact that he understands, that's why he's not an easy walkover person. Most of us don't understand the fact that he has been on steady visitation by a lot of individuals, both home and abroad. A lot of people have been consulting, doing everything possible way to see how they get him, either jettison the vision or water it down. But because he is mentally tough or tougher than each and every one of us, and that's why this freedom is still moving. That is why this cause is still a nightmare to those who drafted a script that if you get him around, everything is off. I tell you the truth. And because God is involved, ordinarily, this is my personal belief, ordinarily they would have just got rid of him aside Nigeria. They would have just assassinated him or, but because, you see, you cannot frustrate the agenda of heaven. And whatever God is involved at, every single step you take to frustrate that project is a glory, is an announcement of that project. And that's exactly what is happening today. If you listen to the last speech of the occupant of Asorok, you could agree with me that there is a shift of language from talking tough to acknowledging the. In fact, there was no go for those of you go and replay that statement, that interview. He was careful, and I believe those who are advising based on realities also. He never in any way used the word while describing Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. He never in any way used the word terrorist, criminal, or any derogatory. Rather, he described the action of Nnamdi Kanu as insulting, that he was insulting. Why? These are some of the things happening. The problem the problem our people have is that we are so curious that we want to see everything naked. But that is not the way the world is structured. That is not the way activities of the world go. In fact, the dark world is more of activities than the real world. How do I mean? Things that happen behind us are fairer than things that happen before us. Ordinarily, the whole concept or the whole idea, I believe, was to get him and humiliate him, treat him like an animal or less human. But as time progresses, the whole narrative is not changing. So, what am I trying to say? We must understand that what we are fighting is a project to salvage our pitiable state. So it's not a child's play. It's beyond what I'm doing, coming on social media to talk. This might also be a contribution, but it's beyond it. And if any people, I am saying based on my research, I am making statement I want to make based on my findings. If any people who are into what we are anchors their strategy, makes their planning system to be a social media thing, to be a public thing, they come online to, plan their strategy, make it open. Believe you me, those people are jokers. They are purely jokers. And that's why, if you understand the current state, that it looks as if no information is floating from anywhere. It looks as if the leadership is just there and quiet, and all you read is through press statement. You cannot see everybody is not being conscious, because the oppressors are now finding it difficult to read the heart of the leadership. It's not an issue of noise making, and we must understand that. So let's look at, excuse me, let's look at the current state we are heading. This is a political year, no doubt about that. And we are not seeing, although this is still money, but we are not seeing some individuals coming to indicate interest to vie for the position. And more is to come, no doubt about it. More is to come. More people are going to come. But we must understand, as a matter of necessity and reality, that there are three things this government have successfully destroyed. Three basic things, fundamental things that this current government have destroyed. And because these things are destroyed, Nigeria is in a very tense, volatile state. These three things I'm talking about, or I'm going to point out, when you remove it from a society, that society becomes an aberration, just exists on the surface. And this is what we should also understand. Excuse me. The defunct USSR did not, the collapse of the defunct USSR in 1991 was the climax of activities that happened before 1991. How do I mean? Ndị Igbo na-ekwu okwu sị na ọwụrụ mgbe egburu ka ọ na-akpọnwụ. The demise of a country is as a result of accumulated activities. Take note of that. Accumulated activities. Activities that have been happening for over 10, 15, 20 years. That is what leads either to the success, either to the progression or retrogression of a society. That is what people don't understand. That's why every country works assiduously to make sure the needs and ongoing activities. USSR did not collapse. What collapsed USSR in 1991 was not the activities of 1991. Take note of that. It was not what happened in 1991 that ended the defunct USSR. Rather, what started happening from 1980s. Accumulations of activities from 1980s down to 1991, where we now saw the climax and the decline of the defunct USSR. And that also points to the fact of also what happened in Old Sudan. It was not what happened in 2005 that disintegrated old Sudan. Take note of that. It is not what happened in 2005 that disintegrated old Sudan. Rather, it was what accumulation of things that started happening as far back as 70s. It keeps happening, it keeps happening, it keeps happening until it gets to the elastic point, and there became an explosion. There must be an accumulated implosions that will now metamorphose or give birth to explosion. Take note of that. And that is applicable to every single society you can reference to. And that's why no reasonable multinational company is investing in Nigeria. In fact, Shell has put for auction her assets in Nigeria. A chartered bank is relinquishing 50% of her holdings in Nigeria. A lot of multinational companies are exiting. Now, ask yourself, why are they exiting? They are exiting because these companies you're seeing spend hugely in what we call market analysis. They do market analysis. They analyze markets and make what we call market projections. They project 20 years, 30 years. How is this society going to be? Is it going to be a reasonable society? They make those viable and realistic analysis to guide their investment plans. And they look at strong factors that points to the fact that this society can remain or cannot remain. It's not spiritual thing. It's as a result of existential realities. They look at existential realities and tell you that this society cannot exist. And that's why, if you look at the Nigerian economy of today, you find out that a lot of multinational companies operating currently in Nigeria are exiting because they are experts, they are future market experts, are calling their attentions to the realities. Let me shock you, for those of you who don't understand how this thing. You see, when we speak from the point of facts. Because fact is greater than illusion. Fact is greater than belief. Now, something recently happened, and I think I have to call our attention to that. Kenya is in East Africa, if I'm not mistaken. Nigeria is in West Africa, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, South Africa is in the southern region of Africa, if I'm not mistaken. Now, by geographical proximity, East, where Kenya is located, is closer to West than South. By geographical proximity. But do you know what happens? When it comes to business, when it comes to investment plan, reality and not illusion guides investors, guides entrepreneurs. Most of us didn't take note what happened recently. Nigeria is assumed to be the largest economy, supposedly the largest economy in Africa, considering her demographical strength. But do you know what? The Kenyan government decided to build a regional aviation industry. They didn't knock on Nigeria's door. They didn't approach Nigeria. They approached South Africa. And some of you don't understand that South African Airways went bankrupt a few months ago, not even up to a year. They are just falling back to their feet. South African Airways went bankrupt. Yet, Kenya, the Kenyan government saw South Africa to be more choice of investment destination, partnership, than the so-called almighty Nigeria. Most of you don't understand what happened there. When it comes to business, investors look at reality. Kenya understand that investing in Nigeria or asking for Nigeria for aviation partnership, because the vision of Kenya is to build a continental aviation hub and a kind of um, pan-Africanist. Thank you. Kenya want to. The vision of Kenya is to build pan-African aviation industry. So they are now looking at a viable and a big economy in Africa to start the partnership with. At least let them start from aviation. And of course, it's also part of integration process, like it was done in EU. What you see in European Union is integration. And Kenya is now looking at integration. But EU started in steel and power. That is how European Union you're seeing today. They started the integration from steel and power, which was Germany, France, and Luxembourg. Three countries initiated the integration you're seeing today. Everybody is shouting in the word European Union, European Union. It started from three countries coming together and say, let us form a business on steel and power. Luxembourg, France, and Germany. These are three countries that started integration. So Kenya now said, see, I'm driving to a point. I'm driving our minds to a point. Now, Kenya said, okay, let's start from aviation. If we have a pan-African aviation industry, let this thing be African flights. Let this one be our own regional flight. Kenya did not choose the highest economy, or supposedly, in quote, giant of Africa for that. They went and took South Africa. You should also understand that South Africa have been so poor in management of the aviation industry. Like I said earlier, go and research. South African Airways just came out from depression, bankruptcy a few months ago. They just started operation, not up to 3 weeks. But why is it that Kenya refused to approach Nigeria on that? Now, let's make the digestion here. Let us dissect the reality. Countries don't invest in a market that is not in the future. The Kenyan government understands that with the tenacity of agitation in Nigeria, with the level of insecurity in Nigeria, they cannot bank on Nigerian future. And there is a truth that no one tells you. That truth that no one tells you happens behind cameras. The presidents of African nations, the presidents of the world understand that Nigeria is a volatile nation. They understand that Nigerian unity is intact. They can't say that on camera for you, for baby agitators. Some of us who are so babyish in approach want one president to come on camera and speak. They cannot say this in camera for you. But you can understand when they are speaking this based on the kind of choices they are making. And somebody will ask me, if Kenya does not believe in Nigerian future, then why did they collaborate in that abduction of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu? These are two different games. Countries play game. Countries play smart. If Nigeria approach Kenya and say, we are going to give you millions of dollars to allow us, to give us access to pick this man. Now, what Kenya is going to weigh on the weight is Nnamdi Kanu's presence of our interest. Can we, this is Nnamdi Kanu, this is the offer. If we don't accept this from Nigeria, we're going to miss this money. And besides, if we give out to Nnamdi Kanu, what are we going to lose as a nation? These are the bitter and the real mathematics countries make. And guess what? Remember, this is happening within the time of COVID-19 that a lot of countries are chasing money. A lot of countries want to survive economically. And somebody is offering you a huge amount of money for you to betray. Or it's just like, it's a question of like a slave trade. What happened between Nnamdi Kanu, Kenyan government, and Nigeria, irrespective of the denial of Kenyan government, is like trading on human commodity. That's exactly what happened. And Kenya needed the money. Now, ask yourself, how is it that the same Kenya that some of us will say they collaborated? To me, I don't see it as a collaboration only. I see it also as a business. The zoo made a huge offer, just the way they also made a huge offer to Benin Republic over Sunday Boho. And these countries need the money. And this money they offered are monies they also borrowed that ought to have been invested. You see, when we say this, people don't think. People think we are being too derogatory. No, they don't think. These are money they sourced through loans that needed to be invested so that the economy can be fit to service the loan. But because of their parochial way of thinking, because of their desperation, because of their, should I say, the emptiness of their brain, they wasted it on Kenya, wasted it on Benin Republic, and today they are telling their civil servants that they can't pay them, that they are going to sack a lot of them. When you diverted the money for what is not even worth diverting on, only for you to now fall back and tell the average civil servant at the level of federal ministries and parastatals that you cannot pay them, that you're going to show them exit road. And the police and the military, you're delaying their salaries. Because money you borrowed that ought to have been invested in infrastructures that would have given you a turn up in your parochial view of life, you went and emptied it. Now, ask yourself a question. If Kenya sees Nigeria as a responsible country, why didn't Kenya approach Nigeria and say to Nigeria, let's form this Pan-African aviation industry in Africa? They will never. Because they understand how stupid the country handlers are. They understand how irrational the leader. They understand that the leaders who emptied the money they loaned to them in Kenya can also destroy the business if they go into partnership with them. That is one thing people don't understand. You see, when you are betraying your own, the person you are doing this with cannot even trust you. It's a natural thing. Most of us don't also understand that there are some Kenyan citizens that Kenya is hunting for till today. I don't know if any of us understand that. And Kenya, for years, have been also been pursuing for their repatriation through legal means. Because can you understand that it is cheaper to follow the law in getting these their so-called fugitive citizens home? They understand that for them to get them home is healthier. It is less expensive to activate the process of international law. Kenya does not want to waste any money in getting those of her citizens. There are a lot of her citizens. Maybe I will take time to get you their names. There are a lot of Kenyan citizens that have cases in Kenya, but they are outside Kenya. That Kenya wants them to come back and face their cases. And Kenya for years have been following legal means to see how to get them back home. Because Kenya understand that is cheap and reputable to get them home through legal means. They don't want to be wasteful like the Nigerian state that negates legal means and be splashing money here and there, only for them to, you see, only for them to also come back and say to their citizens, we cannot pay you salaries. Isn't that magical? Doesn't that sound funny? So, the same Kenya that collaborated with Nigeria is also finding it difficult to collaborate with Nigeria in building Pan-African Aviation Hub. Doesn't that sound funny? Doesn't that beg for a question? That is to tell you, those who derive joy in using one as a fool cannot trust the foolish role the fool played. So that is how it is. So let's look at some of these things on ground so that we understand. Remember, we are not going to waste much of our time because the day just came in, and we understand we also have to go for daily means of survival. Anyway, excuse me. So there are three basic things, thanks to Buhari, that he has destroyed. And because these three things are destroyed, Nigeria's future is in a doubt. It's in a very serious doubt. Like I told us earlier, it's not when you cut a tree that it withers. And of course, it's not the first cut on a tree that brings it down. It's as a result of spontaneous and accumulated cause. So these three things that this current government have destroyed. One is the economy. They have so bastardized the economy in a way that the economy is no longer attractive. Absolutely no longer attractive. And let me shock those of us, the apostles or disciples of pro-Nigeria. Listen, the economy is in a terrible point. And statistically speaking, every single remittance to Nigeria federal account, every single money that drops on federal account, over 80% of that amount goes for debt servicing. I don't know if you understand that, or do I simplify it? If 100 naira is remitted to federal account, so that you understand the horrible state your country is, for those of you who are pro-Nigerianist. Every 100 naira you drop on federal account. Over 80 naira of that amount goes for debt, foreign and domestic debt service. Then from that point, you can now understand. Now, a further shock to that is this. We are entering a electionary year, and we understand historically that every existing government of Nigeria have a one single project to execute. And what is that single project? Emptying the treasury, looting everything to zero. It has been the precedence, it has been the way it goes. So people are shouting that they're exchanging naira to 500 now. You better understand that this is this is even the right time. You're exchanging at the right time. We are going to have a free fall time, few months to come, because the outgoing government, because they don't care, they are just on the exit door. They are going to loot in order to pack money for whosoever they are going to support. Every minister will be stealing from his own ministry. Palm sets will be stealing from their own parastatals and agencies, because they know the government is exiting, no time for accountability. So it's a free time for looting and wastage. You cannot understand. Few months. I'm talking about this year. Few months. So when you now see some multinational companies running away ahead, like Chartered Bank, I think it should be owned by. It should be a British company. I don't know. And the share putting up her assets for sale. You can now understand what is chasing them away, because they understand that with the crazy, the mad way these people are liquidating their foreign reserve, borrowing, if they don't push out of Nigeria economy some of their money, that it might even get trapped. And that's why you see them hastening. It's so dangerous. So the economy is in a very big mess up, thanks to Buhari's regime for destroying it. And of course, thanks to those who support him. Another thing that is in a very big mess is the issue of security. In fact, what is happening in northern part of Nigeria is so horrible, is so pitiable that one can say that the soul and conscience of the world is no longer alive. Most of us don't really get it. Some things that are happening in the north. So many of us, we hear the mainstream ones. But the truth is that every day people are missing in north. Every day people are dying in north. Ask yourself a question. Who is reporting this news? You see, northern society is not like our own society where everyone is a journalist, including the keke rider, has a smartphone to record. Such a thing is not really obtainable in north. So some of the news you're hearing are the ones that manage to escape. Majority of events happening in the north are unreported. And the truth is, their elites understand that there is nothing they can do. I tell you the truth. The people faith is now entrusted in the hands of the terrorists. In fact, people look upon the terrorists to decide if they will live or die than even the government officials. And that's exactly Zamfara, Yobe State, Katsina, the hometown of the president, is even under siege. And people are missing every day. The same way in Sokoto, the same way in Kaduna. In fact, in Niger State, which is just a distance from Abuja, these guys have camps and they are operating freely. Are you talking about Taraba State? Are you talking about Plateau and Benue? Borno State. We also know the story of Borno State. Now, look at the mess. You see, when you look at issue of insecurity, especially in the case of Nigeria, you find out that the hatred and miscalculated steps of the Fulani ruling class against the Biafran people cost them the peace of their region. How do I mean? The period they ought to have look at the problems in their own region and see the better ways to solve it. They use that period to start looking at issues in Biafra land and, of course, in Southwest. And before you know, their region is overtaken, ruined. And you can see all their allies are now stocked in Abuja. And even the Abuja is not so safe. People are being kidnapped in Abuja before the nose of the president. And it's happening countlessly. So when you have such society, you now understand that such society is even a failed state. And ask yourself a question, just a simple question. Why is it that Chad, Niger are more stable than the giant of Africa in terms of security? Just a simple question. If you get the answer to that question, then you will understand how the problem of Nigerian security will never be an issue to solve today or tomorrow. Because it's a simple arithmetic. Chad and Niger are just a neighborhood countries to most northern states. Why is it that Chad is stable or relatively, or relatively stable? Niger is relatively stable, and Nigeria, especially the northern region, is polarized when it comes to insecurity. Because people refuse to think with their head, but decide to think with their nose. And that's why all the elites are now stocked in Abuja. So many of them have abandoned their region because their politicians are not saved. I mean, the northern politicians. A lot of them have now exiled out of their ancestral home. Even a few days ago, it was reported that even the hometown of former Chief of Army Staff, Buratai, who is the current ambassador to Nigerian ambassador in Benin Republic, his hometown was plundered heavily by the insurgents. You can now understand what we're talking about. So it is already a mesmerized society. So when you look at these realities on ground, whether you want to deny it or not, it's a personal decision. Of course, it's a right. You have the sole right to deny or accept the reality. But the truth remains, these are factors you see. You now understand that the country is not in the future. Nigeria is not futuristic because state actors are more effective than non-state actors. In most northern states, it's not even government officials that collect taxes. ISWAP, bandits are already collecting taxes. Yes, non-state actors are actively generating revenue. And ask yourself a question. If Nigeria borrowed in order to service from tax generation, and all of a sudden, 60 or 50% of tax generations, analysis, we're talking about economic analysis. What we are talking about here is fact, not illusions. If Nigeria borrows 100 naira from country A or B, and she is now hoping to service that debt through tax generation and through oil revenue. We know that oil sector is already in a mess because the price of oil is not quantifiable to the benchmark the budget is making. Take note of that. Also, we understand that the world is moving away from oil to renewable energy. There's what is it called? Greenhouse initiative, all these. So countries are heavily moving to clean energy, renewable energy, thereby discouraging oil. I think in year 30, most countries, most vehicles in Europe, over 70% of vehicles in Europe are going to go on non-fuel energies. And they are really, a lot of countries are working on that. In America, new cars have been, produced by Ford and GM, General Motors, and all the rest of them. Rechargeable vehicles. So if Nigeria is expecting to service her loan through more of non-oil sectors, let's talk about maybe taxes. And the population in North, listen, this is a simple arithmetic. The population in North are not paying maybe 60% of northern population or residents of North, Nigerian residents in North are not paying their taxes to the bandits. What do you think will happen to the loan servicing issue? Because people in the North, they are making direct and indirect payment of their taxes to the bandits and ISWAP. Some of them, before you harvest, you pay. Before you harvest your product, you pay. Some of them also pay through the payment of ransoms. Their family members and some of them are being kidnapped and they pay ransoms. Some of them also pay when they come to market to sell their businesses. You see bandits taking the taxes. So if Nigeria source of servicing a loan have been diverted or cut short as a result of the bandits engaging in economic activities, tell me the future of that country. You now understand why so many countries are running away, because they don't want to get themselves trapped in what is to come. Because when Nigeria defaults in loan servicing, then you will now understand that when it comes to international politics, there's no permanent friend, there's no permanent enemy, rather permanent interest. The China that is clapping for you in Beijing, rolling out red carpet for you in Beijing, putting you on the official car, touring you in Wuhan, Tibet, Beijing, and other fine cities of China, will not tell you that, man, we are here for real business, not for emotion. And of course, a lot of things will be, taken away. So a country that have destroyed the economy, a government that have destroyed the economy, destroys safety, polarize security system in a way that they are not looking issues from objective point of view, rather sectional point of view. Such country is not in the future. And also, very, very important, one of those things also, and the cardinal thing this government have destroyed, is the bedrock of the country's unity. Let me tell you, Buhari knows what he's doing. Let no man claims he doesn't know. From the inception of his government, he made it openly clear that those that voted for him, he will give 97, and those that voted not him, he will give 5%, and which he also implemented. But little did he know that there will be a movement like IPOB that will challenge his rascality. He never envisaged that. He never anticipated such. And I tell you the truth, the unity of Nigeria, I'm boldly saying this, go and write it anywhere. The unity of Nigeria is determinant to how IPOB wants it to be. The unity of Nigeria can only be decided by how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB wants it to be. Let me tell us, so many of us, some things we don't know. You see, they always make less reference to Sunday Igboho, and people don't know why. Why they always make less reference to Sunday Igboho is this. They see Sunday Igboho to have been motivated by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB. And why they are putting all their energies on Nnamdi Kanu, they believe that if Nnamdi Kanu is walked over, if they get him subpoena, that both Oduduwa and Sunday Igboho will, just die down. We just die down that way. That is the mentality. And that is their own interpretation. But the truth remains, as far as IPOB is concerned, as far as the leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, is concerned, the quest for Biafra is beyond what they think. And I understand this new idea of polarizing the movement. There have been a severe effort. We understand where everyone is coming from. We actually understand the reason why there's an attempt to polarize the movement ahead of time. We understand. And of course, it's not new. It is not new, never. It has never been new. So a history of freedom movement is concerned, it's never new. You see, I love people when they just fly the flag of emotions and all this. I said, well, we understand the movement is attractive to all kinds of people. But the truth is, are you expecting the government to put her hands to a movement that have debunked every iota of government strategy to destroy? So if you see the government raising people, trying to destroy the leadership, what Nnamdi has built, trying to polarize the structure, trying to destroy the structure so that everything will not flow without, everything will just be to your tent, all Israel. So you should. It's not new. In fact, it's expected of them to act that way. Take it or you leave it. It's expected of them to act that way. Because the truth remains, IPOB has become influential not just in Biafra land, even among many sons and daughters of Oduduwa. And it has been a source of strength and encouragement to those seeking for freedom. Earlier time, people saw it as a movement of touts and miscreants. But today, you can see a lot of people are beginning to speak out because, you see, and I don't blame them for their late voices because, you see, what the issue of Biafra, this Biafra struggle issue you have seen, have been a victim of less character men and women. It has been things that people have called in time past and before you know, they activate the downgrading buttons after being consulted and all this. So, but Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has proven, he has shocked us beyond our marrow that there still can be a man who, in face of humiliation, inducement, still stands on his ground. And press forward for what he believed on. Every single one of us have not been exposed up to 10% of what Nnamdi Kanu has been exposed to. As far as the struggle is concerned, and he still maintains his faith. He still maintains his faith. And like I used to tell some of my friends, I said to them, look, the success of every freedom project does not even lie on followership. Because the means of followership are the good, the bad, and ugly, the headful and the headless folks. The success of it lies on the kind of leadership you have. If you have a thinking leadership, you will definitely have a success. If you have an emotion-infested leadership, you will definitely have a failure. That is just the way it is. So, I know that this project is going to be a successful one. From day one, I saw a man that is intelligent, who is more knowledgeable than his followers. That's just the simple arithmetic. When you have a leadership that is smart and intelligent than followership, it will be successful. But if you have a leadership that followership are more intelligent than, believe you me, is a moonlight play. Lazy wives, folktales. So that is where we'll come to the end of this program, and I believe God will be keeping us moving and we'll be successful. From here, I want to say good morning and do enjoy.